Applications for the 57th Las Cruces Police Academy drop on July 6th. If you've ever wondered what could disqualify you, what the academy is really like, or whether you have what it takes to wear the badge, this episode is for you. Bridging the Badge starts right now. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this month's segment of Bridging the Badge. Today we're talking all things Academy, applications, recruitment, and I am joined by our Academy Sergeant Chase Thuvenal and our Training Officer Austin Arnold. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Perfect. All right, so we're getting ready for the 57th Las Cruces Police Academy, and we are hoping to draw as many applicants as possible. Talk to me a little bit about that and what y'all are looking forward to.
Again, yes, it's that season. It's that time of year again to bring applicants in. So it's all hands on deck when it comes to us recruiting, us as a department getting people inside the door. So it is a long process for myself and Sergeant Thuvenal here, but it's a good process. So getting everyone through the door from start to finish with the most numbers possible is our goal, and that's what we're really striving for this year.
This is really important because this is the next generation of LCPD. These are the people that are going to serve our community here in Las Cruces. What makes LCPD a great place to build a career?
Well, to start out with, the LCPD has a very good family environment, like internally. The brotherhood and sisterhood is above anywhere else I've ever seen. We also have a lot of other things that we can branch off to, so it's not just patrol. Like if you want to be a detective, you can move on to criminal investigations. If you want to be a trainer like we are, you can move off to the academy. And there's just a lot of other things that you can do beyond patrol.
How long is the academy?
5.5 months.
Okay, so 5.5 months. And what does that include? We have a pre-academy as well. Did we want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the actual academy is 22 weeks. We have pre-academy, which is 6 weeks. So the total time that technically you're in the academy would be 28 weeks.
Let's talk a little bit about the pre-academy, because I know not every department across the country has a pre-academy, but it is something that LCPD is really proud of because it allows us to prepare our applicants to get ready to be in the academy. Let's talk about that.
Well, we started that probably a few years ago for our first introduction of the pre-academy. Again, we learned with the pre-academy that people are less likely to leave early on in the academy because, again, it's less of a shell shock. They know what to expect. Within an understanding, we prepare them enough for when actually day one comes. So it's an easy handoff for actually day one of the academy.
And you guys are really preparing them as well for their PT test.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so again, we want people from applications going forward to be prepared for a physical test, but in the pre-academy itself we do PT with them to get them prepared for actual day one of the academy, because again in the academy itself too we're going to be PTing as well, but we introduce that early on in the pre-academy as well too.
You guys are, it's really a all hands on deck type of operation. You guys are there with them, working out with them. You're spending majority of your day with them. Let's talk about that and just the example that you guys hope to show.
Well, again, the typical day that looks like in the pre-academy would be PT starting off in the morning, and then it would be classroom for the majority of the day. But that's always switching in regards to what we're doing. So we might start off early on in the pre-academy, show them proper formation, how to use proper commands when it comes to certain things. We introduce what's called the class leader, so the supervisor of the cadets. A cadet is the supervisor of their own who has to just go to a proper chain of command when they need any additional equipment. So we start introducing that early on, so again, we don't fall into this hard pitfalls later on, and it's just playing catch up from there. It's just an easy handoff going.
They get taught really everything, all the expectations that are going to be required of them in the academy, and it's in a less stressful environment. So we're trying to give everybody the benefit of the doubt in the pre-academy so that when the actual academy starts, it should be smooth sailing.
What kind of applicant are we looking for? Because we know that one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
We get people to join the academy from all walks of life. But what really are we looking for when it comes to an LCPD officer?
Well, I'll just say it in a blanket thing. We need people with good moral values, people that can understand, and know integrity, truthfulness, honesty, that type of thing. That's just across the board what a law officer is. So bring that in, already having that instilled in them coming forward is just what we need. But, coming from me, obviously, we need them physically fit. Our job as physical trainers is, yes, to keep them in shape to pass the final testing at the end of the academy. But if you're coming in already physically in shape, that just makes everyone's job a lot easier. Our job is not to get you to that point where you're supposed to build you up and keep going from your already level of physical fitness.
Yeah, I was going to say something very similar, just a good moral compass. Not everybody's morals and values are going to line up specifically with pride, right? But if they have that good moral compass, that's something that we can teach. And most of the time it's going to align with our core values, which they'll learn through the academy.
Let's talk about age requirement. That's a big question that we see on social media too. How old do I have to be to apply?
Yeah, so it's 19 by the start of the academy. So you have to be 19 years old. We've gone back and forth throughout the years from 21 to 19, back and forth, but we've settled on 19 by the start of the academy.
Any type of experience that people need to have?
No prior military, no prior law enforcement is needed. It could help you out in certain aspects. Again, our academy is military based in some aspects of that, so it could just give you a little heads up of what to expect, but none of that is needed per se for the actual academy.
Walk us through the hiring process from application to academy to graduation, and then what follows after that. What can people expect?
Yes, so it is a pretty lengthy process. Again, applications on July 6th. We keep those open for 2 months. After that, then those applicants who pass the application process will be invited to the written test. After the written test, upon successful completion of that, we'll move on to our background/oral board with other officers asking questions, that type of thing. You pass that successfully. Again, a thorough background will be introduced more with a personal history statement to go more in depth about your background. Again, passing that, you'll move on to your polygraph, where you'll get the lie detector, so to speak. You pass that, you move on to a psychological evaluation. After that is a medical test, and then the very last test is going to be the physical testing. It used to be in the past that the physical testing was the very first thing, but we've learned over the years, the data, we lost so many people from the physical testing portion at the very beginning that we didn't have the numbers going through. So we figured out and we tweaked, if we move it to the end, it gives people more time to prepare. They should already be preparing right now if this is something they really want to do, but saving it to the end just gives them a little bit more time.
And when they make it into the academy, that by no means means that they're in. They have to continue to prove themselves to make it to graduation. Can we talk about that and the expectations and the standards?
Yeah, it's not what have I done in the past, it's what are you doing right now. So the first day of the academy, they do that PT test, and then we go over the rules and regulations. Like, you have to follow all the rules and regulations, and if you don't, then unfortunately you will be dismissed from the academy. Now that rarely happens because they build this team and they come together and they pretty much hold themselves accountable, and when they don't, then we're there for the accountability process.
What parts of the entire situation do you think intimidates applicants the most?
Well, I've been doing this for some time, and I can see it's a few different spots. Again, the PT test is huge. A lot of people fear that they're not going to pass the requirements for the PT test, so that's a big one. Another one would be the polygraph. A lie detector in itself is intimidating, so people come in with a different mindset of freaking out, and I might lie, and they're going to kick me out of the entire process, so that is another one. And I would say, finally, in my opinion, it would be the background check. I did something back when I was young and stupid, and that's going to come up and that's going to disqualify me, kind of thing. So those are my top 3 of what I believe. I don't know if you have anything different.
No, most of the time, like the applicants that have ever called me, that's the polygraph has been the biggest. Hey, what is this, and how do I do it? Really, it's just getting hooked up to a machine and talking to someone and making sure that you're not lying. So just come in, get hooked up to the machine, talk to them, and don't lie, and you'll pass.
And one of the things that we've been really talking and encouraging on social media is to ask questions. If you're unsure about something, to talk to a recruiter.
Yeah.
And so if anyone is interested in speaking to a recruiter, you can easily message us on our social media outlets and we can contact you directly. We're having several events coming up in the month of July that we'll get to in just a bit. However, I want to circle back to the PT standards.
Yes.
What do they need to pass when it comes to the PT test?
Great question. So again, it's gonna be 4 testing exercises. The very first one is gonna be a 1.5 mile run, and they have to complete that in 15 minutes and 14 seconds. So that's 6 laps around a standard track within 15 minutes, 14 seconds. After each test, they have a 5-minute rest period. So after that 5 minutes, they would move on to push-ups. They have to do a minimum of 15 within a minute. After you complete that, it's another 5-minute rest, then you move on to sit-ups. You're gonna need 27 completed sit-ups within a minute, and then again another 5-minute rest, and then after that is our 300-meter sprint. Again, it's 3/4 of a track. You have to complete that in under 71 seconds.
And this isn't something that they're just showing up to and having to do it. That's what the pre-academy is all about, preparing them. You know, I've been able to be there and watch you guys, and you guys are running through that PT test numerous times before they have to prepare for the last one. So there is time to prepare.
Yeah, the 6 weeks is a pretty good amount of time to get that base level entry standard. That's given to us by NMLEA guidelines. At the end of the academy, it is a little bit more strict. I don't remember those numbers off the top of my head. But if I move back to pre-academy, we only had 2 people out of the 27 that we started with that didn't make the pre-academy requirements. So unfortunately, we did have to let them go. But now we're at week 15 of Academy 56, and they took a PT test last week, and all of them met exit standards, which we have never seen before.
Let's talk about hiring standards when it comes to Academy 57. There are some slight changes. Did you want to briefly touch on that just so our viewers can know?
Yeah, so there was recent changes, I believe it was a year, maybe 2 years ago, where if you have a legal right to work in the United States, you are allowed to be a police officer in New Mexico. And then we saw some kind of discrepancies with state law and our marijuana policy because in New Mexico, marijuana is legal. So we were having to disqualify people because they were a casual user of marijuana. So what we changed it to was if you have used marijuana, that's fine. But when you apply with us, you need to cease all use of marijuana products.
So will the applicants and the recruits and the cadets be drug tested?
Yeah, so part of the last process is the medical process, and part of the medical process is they will have to pass a drug test, which includes testing for marijuana.
Is there any other changes or anything that you want the people watching to know about hiring standards?
No, I mean, we kind of hit it earlier, like, do you need military, do you need college? Really, what you need is a high school diploma or GED. If you have one of those, then you meet the minimum standard. Obviously, you'll be more prepared if you have some college or a college degree or military experience.
Now let's shift gears to specifically inside the academy, what it's like, what people can expect. We've shown glimpses of the academy on our social media, but people want to hear it from you guys. You guys are the ones that are there and working with these recruits and the cadets every single day. What can people expect on the very first day if they make it in?
So very first day of the academy, we're going to be checking uniforms, and it's going to be kind of a stress day. There's no lying about that, and the secret's out of the bag at this point, right? You're probably going to get yelled at. There's not a whole lot that you're going to do right, but that's when you're going to build together as a team with the rest of your class. After that, it's a whole lot of classroom work for probably the first few weeks, and then we get into the rest of the curriculum. That would be the firearms training unit, defensive tactics training, driving, a bunch of reality-based training scenarios.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off that, if people didn't already know, it's going to be long days. We start our days with PT at 5:30 in the morning, and the PT session will go all the way to 7. And then after 7, they have an hour usually to get where they need to go get prepared for formation at the very beginning, and then classroom around 8 o'clock for the rest of the day. And then once we start, like Sergeant Duvenal said, when we start introducing defensive tactics, those days make it longer. So after the classroom portion, at the end of the day at 5, they go to defensive tactics for another couple hours. So they turn into really long days. So again, just don't want anyone to be scared away of long days of work.
It is paid.
The whole thing is paid, pre-academy and the academy.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the biggest challenges that recruits face. You guys really emphasize, everyone in the academy, that everything they're doing is for a purpose. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, just in my opinion of this and what we've seen through data and the science behind it is this job in itself is extremely stressful. This career is extremely stressful, I should say. So introducing stress early on to them in a controlled environment will help them later on in the real world. So we have to introduce it. Again, it's controlled. We never get to that point where it's off the charts, crazy physical harm or anything like that. It's controlled, but they need to know that this is going to be like that out there, but worse, where physical harm can happen to them, so they need to be prepared for it. So the stress is a huge factor in it, and again, it's for a purpose. We're not picking on them. We're trying to, again, act like a potential disorderly citizen in the mind of that, and try to get under their skin to see how they would react. Because as a law enforcement officer, the eyes are always on you. You have to be cool, calm, collective during these interactions with these individuals and still handle business.
Yeah, most of the breakdowns I see in the cadets from 55 and Academy 56, it's never been, oh, this workout is too hard, or the days are too long. It's just everything is coming together and it creates some sort of breakdown. So the toughest thing for them is that mental challenge.
Let's talk about the things that get them through. At the beginning of the academy, right, you guys have them bring a picture of their why, and
Yes.
you guys really emphasize, what is your why? Remember your why throughout the entire academy, pre-academy too. Talk to me about that and the purpose behind that.
So the why is, in the pre-academy, we talk to them, why are you here? Why do you want to do this job? Who is it for? Because we want you to focus on something bigger than yourself. So we have them bring in just like a wallet picture of whatever their why is. And that it's very personal to them. As academy staff, we don't really inspect it. But when things get challenging for them, we challenge them and we say, go reach to your why, take out your picture, look at your why, and know that you can do this.
I've only been with the department since January, but I think what really makes LCPD's academy so unique and special is it's not just the academy instructors that are there doing every single lesson.
Right.
You have people from the entire department. Chief Story himself, like, he goes in and instructs when it comes to the academy. You have Adrian de la Garza. We recently posted a video about him talking about his shooting that he was in and going over it with the recruits. There's so many people that are involved in helping these recruits and want to see them succeed. What is the purpose behind that?
Well, if you have somebody that's passionate, that's trying to deliver a message, which is part of the curriculum, right? Crisis intervention training, for instance, we have Detective Milks, and she's passionate about that, and she provides very good instruction. Whereas if it were me, it would just be a PowerPoint that I'm going through, and I'll make sure that we reach the goals and objectives, because I don't have the same passion and drive that she does for that specific topic. So one of the things that I really love about LCPD is there's so many of us with so many different passions, hobbies, and things like that, that you become an instructor in something that you want to do. It's not something that you're required to do.
Let's play devil's advocate here, because I know the days are really, really long, and it's hard being a police officer. I will say, though, that based on what I've seen, LCPD does seem to be a department that is very family-oriented. Can we talk about that and just the support from the administration down?
Yeah, several of the cadets throughout the academy have had family issues that arise, and we will work around the schedule, make sure that they get the correct training, even though they may have an ultrasound that they need to go to, or we've had cadets that their family members have passed away. That's something that we can work around, and we're always willing to work around it so that they can maintain their family bonds.
All right, so we have some events coming up that we are excited about and we want to share with the community. Let's start with an application workshop that's going to be happening on Saturday, July 18th at Las Cruces City Hall. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so what we're expecting of this one is hopefully a big turnout. We want everyone to come who's willing to apply, and we're going to walk them through the application. If they have any questions, we're going to have recruiters there to answer any questions before they actually apply. But if you're just, you want to do this, you're ready to apply, we're going to walk you through that process itself. Again, we'll be at City Hall from 8 to noon, so that's the time frame that we want everyone to come. There'll be plenty of hands, plenty of people there to answer any questions if needed.
Again, that's Saturday, July 18th. Do they need to bring anything?
Just a valid driver's license, just so we can verify their identity for them, but that's all they need. No other documentation.
What does the application entail? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we can talk about the application. So the application itself is just to go over the basics of who you are. Again, make sure that there are automatic disqualifiers, again, in regards to misdemeanors, felonies, making sure you are of age of application, again, the 19 and stuff like that. And we talked a little bit about the marijuana. So it's just a few drop boxes of just basic questions about you, making sure that, again, you're hitting these boxes that you're able to apply for the Las Cruces Police Department.
It's really just a 20-minute application process.
Yeah.
It doesn't take very long at all. A lot of people get wrapped around with, I have to put everything that's in my resume in here, and that's just not the case. We're going to get all that information when it comes down to the personal history statement right after the written test.
And what happens after their application is submitted? They'll expect a call from one of y'all, or what can they expect after they hit submit?
So after they hit submit, if they have any questions, obviously reach out to us. But we do have to wait for the application process to close before we start the written test. The written test right now is scheduled for about mid-September. So if they submit an application July 6th, unless they have any questions for us and they reach out to us, the next correspondence that they'll receive will probably be sometime in September when we're scheduling their written test.
Yes, this is the perfect opportunity for people to come meet some of our recruiters who will be there helping out and fill out your application and get that out of the way. July 24th, we're having a recruitment event, and this is not the traditional application workshop.
Right.
We want to bring an experience to the community and really show potential applicants what they could be looking forward to when it comes to joining LCPD. This is going to be happening at Amador Live on July 24th. Talk about that.
Yeah, so again, we're pulling out all the stops for this one. We're bringing in, again, all the recruiters, additional officers as well too, but the specialty section as well too. If somebody really wants to know what it's like to be a detective will be there. Part of the SWAT team will be there as well too. So the specialty sections will be there because we know that's an interest of the community. They just don't want to be patrol. I want to be something else. So those people will be there to answer any questions for them, and then again the recruiters as well too. So we'll be at Amador Live, spread out through the entirety of it, and answer any questions for anybody.
Is there anything else you guys would like to add?
Just don't wait till the end of the hiring process. Like we said, it's a 20-minute application, and that'll get you in the door to take the written test. We'll see you then.
Yeah, see you July 18th.
Just a reminder that application workshop is going to be at Las Cruces City Hall on July 18th, and our recruitment event at Amador Live is going to be on July 24th. If you're interested in speaking with a recruiter beforehand, if you have absolutely any questions, you can reach out to us on social media and we'll connect you with them directly. That's this month's segment of Bridging the Badge. Thanks so much for joining us.